What if we do this? No. Punk Evolution now! Today we're reviewing Material Girl's newest album, i85mixx21-22, something like that. It's Material Girl. I have to be honest with you, I'm a little annoyed right now because I have very strong opinions on this album. I know how I feel about this album. I know I have the correct opinion and the correct analysis of this album, but I have no choice but to let you know that I have a bias, apparently, because I am friends with Material Girl IRL. I performed at the release show for this album, and I freaking love Material Girl. He is a really awesome person. So I guess that makes me technically biased because I like the artist in person and in IRL, and they're my friend. However, I assure you, I've listened to the crap out of this album critically with an open mind, and I have a lot of feelings about this album that I want to give out there. No bias, but technically I have to let you know I'm technically biased from a scientific perspective, even though I'm not. Anyways, screw it. Let's start by taking a look at the album cover. This to me looks like the album cover of Fun's debut album. You remember that indie pop band Fun from like a decade ago? Well, this album cover reminds me a lot of the debut album because of the color scheme and the way it's kind of organized. It looks similar, but obviously the Material Girl cover is way cooler because Fun's dumb little indie pop corny ass band cover is dumb, while Material Girl's album cover is a lot more mature looking, a lot more abstract. It makes me want to go to the MoMA and look at art and take notes and cry, because that's what I do as an artist and a music critic. I like to take notes and cry at art. And Material Girl, well, just an FYI, the music here is, it's gonna get pretty abstract, it's gonna get pretty intellectual. This is, I mean, I know I'm not supposed to talk about my personal relationship with Material Girl because that makes it a biased review. I don't give a crap, okay? I'm telling you right now, Material Girl is clearly a very intelligent person IRL. I don't need to tell you that. You can just listen to the music and you will see it yourself. This is, what is this? Abstract, electronic, instrumental, hip-hop that combines just so many cool influences. I can go through a whole list of really cool influences. Like, I think of like, you know, Nujabes or Nujabes, however you pronounce that, you know, kind of jazzy, really chill, instrumental, hip-hop artist, I think from Japan. And then there's also maybe like Earl Sweatshirt kind of influence in terms of the kind of abstract, hazy, chill, hip-hop beats that kind of make their way into this. But then I'm kind of feeling like some playfulness of like J Dilla, the way this album has so many samples that take all these twists and turns. But then I'm hearing like there's kind of this indie-tronica side to it, like maybe the books, the way it's kind of like psychedelic, or maybe Fortet. Like I'm here, I can go through a whole list of a lot of very cool influences. But you need to understand, this is not just an album that's taking influences from a lot of fantastic other electronic and instrumental hip-hop projects and then just kind of regurgitating those influences. I hate when artists do that. No, this is something way completely different. Like, you listen to this album from start to finish, what is it, 46 minutes long, 47 minutes long? You are going to take so many twists and turns. You have no clue where this project is going to take you. And I'm not saying it says like, oh, it's just gonna throw random crap at you to try to blow your mind. No. Every single transition from one song to the next is so well thought out. Every single sample just fits so perfectly. Like, oh, I heard that sample come back from earlier in the album. It's so cohesive, and it all has such a purpose. It has such a purpose. It's so like, it's just so driven. Like, literally, it's a very linear album. Like, if you want to get a hip-hop album that has fun verses and choruses you can sing along to, good luck. This is not gonna, Material Girl is not gonna work for me. You're not gonna be able to sing along to this album. It's very abstract. It's very like, it's like watching like an experimental film or something like that. But it's never boring because it just constantly keeps you on your toes. It's incredibly emotional. Like, that's one thing you need to understand is like, you know, I got one side of my brain that's like, really extremely, you know, in bliss from all the awesome electronic stuff going on, and then there's another side of my brain that's really focusing on the vocals and the lyrics, and I'm kind of being torn apart on the inside because the vocals here are so raw and so emotional. Like, these lyrics, they kill you. They kill you on the inside. You're listening. It's like it's not always entirely clear what's going on. I'm hearing lyrics about, like, I think mourning the death of a friend or maybe multiple friends, and I don't know exactly the details. Maybe drug overdoses involved. It sounds like Material Girl on the vocals is simultaneously sometimes like manic and just kind of like almost improvising, letting all of his emotions out, and then sometimes he sounds like he's on the verge of crying, and it definitely gives a very hardcore kind of like emo vibe, you know, like emo artists like reading poetry, very dramatic, intense, emotional poetry. It can be really intense. It can be really intense. I think some people might actually be turned off a little bit by how forward that emotion is. Like that's like such a vulnerable thing to do, just to have this incredible electronic project and then to have such incredible emotional vulnerability on top of it, where he's not always on the beat. Like I said, it's kind of just like spilling out of his mouth. It doesn't always rhyme. I mean, sometimes it is like really catchy, awesome rapping, but a lot of times, like I said, it's just, think of it more of like an emo, almost like a, you know, like a really like dramatic, there's no screaming, but it feels like the dramatic level of emotion in the vocals does feel on par sometimes with like a freaking screamo band, honestly. And every time I re-listen to this album, like it just, there's more and more that clicks to me. Like not only am I blown away by the incredible musicianship, like just from like a music theory perspective, the way these songs have like tempo changes, the way these songs have like really interesting formats, like I said, very linear. It's almost like I'm listening to like an avant-garde jazz record like Charles Mingus or something, or maybe actually reminds me a lot of like Faust's debut album, you know, that insane progressive rock album from the early 70s. You should definitely listen to if you haven't. It's just a crazy, just kind of mindfuck, like it just seems like just you're opening the brain of an artist who just has all these abstract thoughts and feelings just kind of pouring out. It feels like that, but like I said, like I'm stunned because of as like just kind of almost like stream of consciousness this album is. It all fits together so cohesively. I think this is going to turn some people off, that the vocals are so emo and so unconventional, but you know, from my perspective, one, this emotional vulnerability takes an already amazing record and takes it even further. It kind of reminds me of maybe By the Time I Get to Phoenix by Injury Reserve, kind of similar in the sense that they're both abstract hip-hop records with a lot of very dark, heavy, emotional vocal performances about mourning the loss of your friend, very similar in that respect. I couldn't imagine this record without the vocals like that. Like as a musician, just seeing someone take all these fantastic electronic, amazing production influences together and combine them so cohesively and so linearly, like a freaking free jazz record, and then to have that additional layer of intensely emotional vocals on top, it's stunning. I'm floored. I'm floored by this record on from a musician's perspective and the music theory, from like a human kind of perspective, just like emotionally feeling very emotionally moved by this record. If you're into experimentation, if you're into like progressive, avant-garde, rock, electronic, whatever if you're just a music nerd who likes abstract music, you gotta check this out. And if the lyrics and vocals turn you off, like I said, it might, because they're sloppy. You're not gonna be able to sing along to them. They're very chaotic. I recommend just trying again and actually listening to the lyrics and understanding this is like some raw, emotional vulnerability. I know that's gonna be overbearing for some people. For me, I think it, like I said, it takes it to the next level. Oh my gosh, wow. I really like this record a lot. See, now this is the hard part, because I just told you all this stuff about how much I love this album, and now I have to rate it. I feel like I'm kind of screwed here, because if I rate it too high, everyone's gonna be like, you're biased! You're giving your friend a high score because he's your friend! Okay, I've met him like twice. We're not like that close friends, alright? And if I give too low of a score, it's gonna just be me shying away from giving my honest feelings because I'm afraid of people in the comments saying I'm biased. So, I guess, honestly, I feel like this is a 9.4 out of 10. Like, that to me is like where things kind of really even out. I listen to so many albums I'm reviewing, and then like, this is one of those rare albums where I want to just keep listening over and over and over again, more than I need to review, because I actually really love it. That's usually how I know I'm going to give it something that's higher than a 9, is like I don't want to stop listening. Like I said, the more I kind of dig in, the more emotionally vulnerable I see it is, and the more kind of moved I am on a deeper level. So it's when there's an album that's that good, that both musically just has shut the fuck up, I'm trying to review, there's a fucking truck when there's an album that's so good musically you want to keep returning to it, and then lyrically is so emotional it kind of like moves you in a serious way, that's how you know it's a freaking good album. So I'm giving it a 9.4. Not for everybody. If you can't handle incredibly emotional, unconventional, raw vocal deliveries, and you need your vocal deliveries to be a little bit more straightforwardly melodic, fun, and you can sing along to it like a freaking baby who needs to freaking rattled for you, that's your IQ if you don't enjoy this. So anyways, thanks for watching. Shout out to Material Girl, freaking amazing record. Thank you so much for watching. Punk Revolution now.